Bus is here. Why don't we call this meeting of the City of Salem Legislative Subcommittee to order, and present are Bennett,
Hoy,
Anderson,
Lewis,
and staff is to be, I guess, explained. So what's going on, Justin?
well, thanks.
Where's our
Mr.
money?
Mayor. What's that?
Where's our money?
Well, there's a bunch of it. Now it's just
Okay.
a matter of trying to find out how to get it and obviously maximize that on behalf of citizens of Salem. So with that, Mr. Mayor and councilors, pretty brief update today. And again, I think as you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the focus is going to be on funding. So I will talk real quickly about what's going on with the legislature, and then the meat of our meeting
Great.
today will really be looking at the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, some of these opportunities for funds, and looking at our funding priorities as well. So with that, I'll just get right into it. You guys have heard continually update after update, some of the frustrations around a virtual session and how difficult it really is to work and to operate when we're not in the building every day, having those conversations, having the ability to touch our legislators and just let them know what we're up to, getting questions, giving feedback. It's really frustrating. That's not exclusive to us by any means. I know my colleagues are feeling that as well. We've had several delays from COVID, floor sessions canceled, hearings moved. Those kind of things continue to happen. I think I was optimistic early in our legislative updates, saying at some point we might get in the building by March, and then it was April, and now it's already May. And I really don't think, with the recent outbreaks and some of the some of the rise in Marion and Polk County, that we will be in that building. There's only about 53 days left in the legislative calendar, so I would not count on that. But boy, I'll be glad to get this virtual session behind us and get back to the real world and doing our work on behalf of Salem. So with that, we've got two kind of critical deadlines that are coming up, again, from this document that you guys all have. May 14th is a final deadline for posting work sessions. And then the big date is the revenue forecast on May 19th. So why that's a big date? Not so much for what the number is, but I think we will see some increased numbers along with the federal funding, CARES Act, ARPA, and everything coming together. There should be a decent amount of dollars out there. But why that's important in terms of the legislative process is that's really what signals the end of the legislative session. So we get those numbers. Everybody knows what they are. We'll start to see budgets passing from agencies. We'll start to see our requests either coming in or not, and we will continue to have those conversations. We've had several conversations with the co-chairs of Ways and Means, both in the Senate and in the House. I will be meeting in district down in Corvallis with Representative Rayfield here next Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. I will be going over our funding priorities with him. He's already gotten that. I know Senator Johnson has already received that, as well as our Salem delegation. So looking forward to those dates. And then finally, that constitutional sine die date is June 27th. So that's when session officially ends. It's really about 5, almost 6 weeks worth of work there on funding. And then finally, they've scheduled a special session in September. This was to be dealing with redistricting. As we all know, it's that time again. So I know they were going to look at redistricting, but I would say there's a caveat if they need a mechanism or if they need opportunities, whether that's through e-board, whether that's through the legislature, to actually look at probably ARPA and some other issues that are going on. And that might be a time where they could handle that when the legislature's all together. So September special session, they've asked us to block out the date of the week of September 20th. So almost the last week in September. With that, that's my legislative update. Courtney,
I have a question for you, Justin.
I'm sorry, Counselor, yes.
I would like to understand where each of our top priorities are in the process and how in jeopardy they are should there be a walkout, and when do we get past that? When are we out of jeopardy, I guess, is my what I want to know.
Yeah, I think I'd love to tell you we're out of jeopardy and none of that'll happen and the Republicans won't walk, but I think we all know how sensitive it is and how heightened the political situation is. I think we're looking good on the Navigation Center in terms of one of our top priorities. It's done. So that one's good to go.
But when you say done, what do you mean?
Let me get, I was trying to be kind of, coy, let me get right to my bullet point because I know that's further on down on our agenda, but we'll go right now. Yeah. So it has been funded through House Bill 5042, effective April 15th. DAS now has that funding and reported that the allocation contracts are with the Department of Justice now for review, and those dollars should go out soon.
So legislators can't do anything about it now.
It's a done deal.
So there's no jeopardy, there's no risk for the Navigation Center funding.
We're good on that one.
It's done.
And
My boss over here is yelling from the couch that it's a done deal.
okay.
Awesome.
If it's the operational money, or is it the purchase the building money?
It's
Purchase a
$5
building.
million for 2 years of operations.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
we're
thought.
purchasing the building.
Okay, yeah.
And that was a big issue in 19. We got it resolved. And so, yeah, things are looking good, Councillor Hoy. So hopefully that's what we need. Courtney, I'll hand it over to you.
I got one question if I could. You
Yes,
brought up the atmosphere of playing in the sandbox. Is this agreement that was supposedly made that they're going to play nice and all's going to go well because they've made a deal? Is that really strong, or is that just yesterday's news and they got their shoes on? Who knows what they'll do?
Yeah, I think the latter part of your statement might be right. They tried, they will try. And I've gotta say, Oregon's probably a little more unique than most in the fact that we really do try to get both sides together and work these things through. Whether they accomplish what they need to or not, I don't know. And I wish I could say with certainty that, oh yeah, those three and those three are gonna work well together and it's all gonna get done. But I think in this hyper political climate, I think we should, always be a little bit uncomfortable around
What's in the way? What could potentially be in the way right now? What would they walk on? What's hanging out? The gun bill's gone.
Yeah, I think it's probably just going to be environmental stuff again.
What's it look like? I mean, what kind of a bill are we?
It could be environmental. It could also be something, Mr. Mayor, like, well, this isn't true access to what's going on, right? As soon as we get that revenue forecast, nobody's in the building. We don't really have a public process going.
Okay.
I don't want to put ideas in anybody's head, but in terms of being strategic about anything, I'm sure they're not listening to Salem's legislative update on YouTube to get an idea to say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't a public
Hey,
process.
there's a way out. Yeah.
Let's slow this up. Let's slow this up that way. But you never know what's coming down. Again, in a political environment that's this kind of charged, as well as not a lot of trust between the two sides.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, Justin, do you have any sort of insider's report on how the gun bill went down with the provision that we were interested in regulating our parks?
No, I don't. And I've done a little back and forth with Clem. I would get, if Councillor Hoy's talked to Clem, then he might know better than I have, but I've just been phone tagging and I haven't really got a full debrief from him. But when I do, I'll just give you a buzz. Councillor Hoy, did you get anything from him? I have
Nothing to share right now.
I haven't talked to him in other than the back and forth. So as soon as I know, Councillor Anderson, I'll let you know.
I would like to go back though to my question. I feel like I got a partial answer, but I want the rest. What about Sobering Center?
Sobering Center. So let me get to my second bullet on the fourth part of the agenda.
You got your agenda, I've got mine.
That's perfect. So we've got a request in for with Senator Patterson, and she is kind of carrying the water for us on that. She's been advocating with Ways and Means co-chairs. I know the mayor's had a conversation with her. We've been having conversations with her as well. And we've kind of distributed a few of these funding priorities to various members within our delegation. And she's working on that now. So I'd say we're looking good. But again, it's not at the level or at the stage or at completion like Navigation Center.
Okay, so it would be in jeopardy should there be a walkout.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then in terms of mobile crisis response, that's all in, what is it, 2417?
Correct. Correct. That's in 2417, sitting down in full ways and means. As you know, that bill's got about 10 million in it for mobile crisis response grants. Requires a 25% matching fund, but it's sitting down there. So to your earlier question would be, if there was a walkout, that would be in jeopardy.
Okay.
We've also asked for that, as I recall, under ARPA of the legislature. Where's that? How's that working out?
Courtney, do you know who we asked specifically on that?
I think the Sobering Center may have been an ARPA related request from Senator Patterson. So mobile crisis response, I don't know that we made a specific ask under ARPA.
That wasn't on that list you gave me?
I don't think so.
I believe it's in the ARPA, it's in an ARPA list as I understand it. However.
Yeah, I thought it was on my list that I gave them.
I will check, Mr. Mayor and Council, see where it's at. We've got till May 10th on a deadline that we'll discuss. If it's not, let's at least get it in on the ARPA list as well as the legislative list.
Yeah, it should be in several different places. I thought it was. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've done that. So let me check. And maybe that's another one. If we haven't touched some of our delegation, maybe that's another one that we should try to make that request of prior to that May 10th deadline.
Yeah, that one not being covered by the legislature exposes our general fund to substantial amount.
We did, early on this session, we did pitch a Navigation Center, Sobering Center, and Mobile Crisis together. And so you may be remembering that. We were pitching a whole kind of infrastructure system to support our needs for sheltering crisis. And so, Justin, we can easily reuse that piece as we're pitching. I'm sure that's the tool that we used to get Senator Patterson's interest on. That's easy enough done.
Absolutely right, Courtney. And that entire list, we're trying to kind of have a master list that we redistribute to all of our delegation to make sure there's no gaps in funding, whether it's through a bill
Courtney,
or whether it's through a request in ARPA.
Courtney, you gave me testimony for Ways and Means for whatever it was a couple weekends ago. Do you have a copy of that you could give to Justin too, just to make sure that's the list that I've been kind of working off of?
Yes,
it had a whole bunch
that.
of stuff. Had $1 million up front and I don't know how much, 28 in the back end of it. I mean, it was huge.
That's correct. And Justin has that.
Okay.
It was really focused on the first million is really about being able to move the vouchers that we do have, getting
right. Okay.
families into housing,
Okay.
some navigation support, staff support to.
Right. I remember now. Okay.
And then the second piece sorry, Justin?
I said, I've got all that, Mr. Mayor, and we're working on kind of pulling chunks of that out and then distributing that per our discussion to the rest of the Salem delegation to, again, make sure nothing falls through the gaps in terms of requests for ARPA funding beyond.
We need about 500,000-600,000 at least for the mobile crisis program. And that one I would think to some members of the delegation might be very attractive. That's a real winner for them. It's very popular.
Okay. We've been asking 800K on that.
Well, we've dropped in 100 and what was it, 155?
135.
35?
135 was budget committee recommendation on Wednesday night. If we could please return to Council Boyce's question, and we have a couple other funding initiatives that we put on our agenda, and I do that regularly just to remind us of our priority projects. We've discussed the Navigation Center, the Sobering Center. Could you give us a quick update?
Yaquina?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So it's in House Bill 5002, which is the DAS budget. It's policy option package 90. It's got the 1.5 million. And I talked to Adam earlier in the week. Councillor Hoy testified in support of that bill on March 29th. And then according to DAS, it's all good. It's within their budget. It's just sitting down in Ways and Means, which is fine. I mean, as I've explained to folks, and as the mayor knows, you don't want your budget to go early in case extra funds come up, right? So that 5-week period or that 6-week period from revenue forecast to sine die, everybody's kind of sitting on their budgets. Everybody's sitting on their budgets, waiting for those funds to come in, waiting to see. So I wouldn't be alarmed that agency budgets aren't done yet. Everybody likes to hang on. We always recommend to clients, hang on as long as you can and see if more money comes in. Certainly in the world of education, as Mayor Bennett knows, you wait till the final, try to get more.
I understand it, Justin, because it's in that agency budget bill, it's almost a certainty, and walkout shouldn't play into that bill.
Correct. It will be in DAS's budget. We know DAS has to have a budget, and that'll get out there. So
that's
exciting. It's exciting,
but not a certainty.
It's exciting, and not only is it exciting because it'll get done, but it really fits with not just your guys' ideologies and, housing assistance and doing the right thing for, really, really specified folks, but it also fits within the ideology of the legislature, right? Housing's critical at this moment, at this time, and a project like Yaquina really does fit in that. So it's a very forward-thinking project that fits well with what the state's trying to do. So you guys should be commended, as well as the state, on getting this to this position. Okay, Courtney, you just want me to keep hitting those bullets, or are you good?
I would love it, Justin, if you could just continue to hit those bullets, please.
Okay, let me see. We've hit sobering center. We've hit Yaquina. Community mental health impacts. That's our mobile crisis. Still keeping an eye, and I don't know if any of you guys have had conversations around drinking water. We're still messaging that it's important. We want to help folks in the canyon, but it's imperative that we make sure that our drinking water supply is protected, and whatever goes on up there does that within the confines of the rules. And then COVID recovery sources, and that's all I've got, Courtney. I've got the ARPA stuff, but that's further up in our agenda. You tell me when to hit that.
I think that's great.
Does Jason know what the deal is with our water quality concerns?
Jason on this morning?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm right here. What's the question, Mayor?
The questions are, what's going on with our water quality concerns as the legislature considers all of the projects being proposed under the wildfire, kind of that banner of the wildfire and fixing up those communities up there. It's that sanitary sewer system.
Right. And so, as you know, I'm heavily involved in the sewer system project planning. And so we're expecting a draft of the master plan to be coming out later this month. And then as far as the wildfire recovery, myself and a couple others from operations are keeping our ears open for the planning and the funding that's going into wildfire recovery. At this point, there's really been nothing raised at the legislative level that causes us any concerns. And that not only with wildfire recovery, but also with the lawsuits going on with the Corps of Engineers and the operations of Detroit and Big Cliff Dam. So there's some things that with on that front that are coming to resolution, but we're on top of it, and we've seen nothing so far that would kind of keep us up at night.
So we're no problems with that sewer system at this point, planning for it.
According to Commissioner Cameron, the Marion County has said that they are not going to go after a 3-basin rule modification. So that was the last I heard from him, and that was at a meeting about 3 weeks ago.
I'll look forward to a plan for a sewer system up there that doesn't have that capability of having a discharge of some sort. That'll be interesting.
It is, and we've retained our own technical consultant to go over the work and everything done by their consultant. So we will give it a good read and make the appropriate comments.
Great. Okay.
Thanks. So just in recap, things are going fairly well for the city right now at the legislature, barring, as Councillor Hoy was referencing, barring any walkout, we're sitting pretty good with our top two, and our third is looking good, and others are looking good as well. So thank you, everyone, very much for all the work that you've done to help us further our priority projects. If we could talk a little bit, Justin, about what we're seeing at the legislative level around the American Rescue Plan Act, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Sure. Just real quick, and council may have heard how they're looking at distributing these $780 million in funds. It's being driven by legislative leadership. Out of that 780 million, what they've decided to do is do an earmark piece with $8 million per Senate district. So the way that 8 million breaks out is 4 million for each senator, and then 2 million for each coordinating House district. So the two members within that Senate district each would have the ability to do earmark requests for $2 million each. So that totals 240 million. That's that piece. What is left in the 540 million? I haven't heard yet of any kind of a solid plan on how they would deal that. They could allocate that during that special session, as I mentioned before. They could allocate that through e-board. They could look at doing that in the February 22 session. I just don't know. And I just haven't heard. There's a lot of talk going on, but not a lot of outlines other than that earmark piece. And when I mentioned that May 10th deadline, that's where we want to get all those requests in. And again, we're pulling stuff out of the mayor's testimony. We're pulling stuff out of our funding priorities and making sure that we're all covered, whether it's ARPA funds or in legislative packages.
Tom?
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out how many senators and how many representatives we have. And I know I can make it 2 senators, but, and the representatives, not all of them, like Raquel Moore Green, she is in and out of the city of Salem. Clem is exclusively Salem. So could you just give us kind of a wrap up of how many legislators we have and how many of them are specifically in our district or in our city, so we can say we've got priority on the funds because we're their only constituents, as opposed to somebody who also has rural areas of the county.
Right. So just off the top of my head, Counselor, obviously we've got Senator Courtney with Representative Clem and Representative Alonzo Leon underneath him, Salem proper. Then we have
Alonzo Leon goes up to Woodburn.
Yeah, she does.
She has part of Salem.
She definitely gets.
I understand she has part of Salem, but she is going to be.
She has all of Northeast Salem from Market Street north.
Yeah, I know that, but
okay.
She's got more in her district is all I'm saying. So she'll have to allocate them in other parts of her district, while Clem is only in Salem.
And for these, Councilor Anderson, for these, I always just consider anybody that's got any touch or any footprint in the city as ours, right?
Okay.
So when you mentioned Raquel Moore Green, absolutely. So Senator Patterson, Representative Evans, and Raquel Moore Green. So I kind of consider those kind of our core. Of course, Giroux, gets a little piece because of our water system. And you've got some other folks that are on the fringes, right? Aren't specific to Salem, but certainly always thinking in and around the city since they're part of the metropolitan.
So we're basically talking $6 million that is only in Salem. That's Courtney and Clem, and then another $10 million that is partly in Salem and partly out of Salem.
Courtney's all the way to Woodburn.
Oh yeah, he's bigger. Okay.
Yeah, and
I think it's about
the other one not to overlook is Evans. He's got all West Salem. I mean,
yeah. We talked about Evans. Okay, all right, that's good.
And I might be mistaken, but Clem represents unincorporated areas, not in the city of Salem.
Yeah,
he represents both.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, if any of us counselors as individuals, it would be helpful for us when we figure out some sort of strategy to talk to our legislators. That'd be great. I'd be happy to do that. I'm sure all of us would be happy to do that if you just let us know who we should talk to. And
Well,
what
what
we
they're
should say.
doing too is calling in and saying, you know, what does Salem need? And
Give us
part of
projects.
it's not having an ARPA list, kind of what
Yeah.
would we like to hit them on, making sure everybody has a list of what we're after in terms of
Well,
those funds. and
do
that we're
we
all on the same
internally-
list.
do we internally as a council have that kind of list? And if not,
We
can we, okay, I'd love to see it. So in case anything comes up spontaneously, I know it. So Courtney, if you could send that to us, you probably already have, but it's in, 2,000
But take
emails.
a look at it and see if it covers everything you want to
Okay.
cover. Because
Sure,
right now,
sure.
we're using it as Courtney mentioned. It's really aimed at our housing, our
Mhm,
low income
mhm.
housing
Yeah,
projects.
yeah.
It's buying up the vouchers to where they can be used, and it's a really good suggestion for ARPA.
No, I
Right.
agree. I agree.
We've also got that acid ball, and we got all kinds of other stuff floating around out there.
We need more pallet shelters. We need property to put pallet shelters on.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
sorts of,
That's-
all sorts of
Exactly.
things.
I mean, we need is us, you know.
Yeah.
So what we've really focused our legislative ask for ARPA funds on is how to what we understand they're looking for is a way to leverage existing investment. So
Mhm.
look the vouchers as an existing investment, and we can leverage that and get more people into housing with some financial support. And so that's the first bit of the ask. And that's certainly easier, I think, to swallow than $28.8 million shelters and site them and provide sanitary and garbage, potties and water and garbage removal to a dispersed set of sites. So that's the kind of thing that we've been asking for, and certainly accompanying that ask with our existing ask for, navigation center, we've got sobering, we're still asking for, and mobile crisis. Those things are well known, thanks to Justin, a credit to his work, and all of you have provided testimony. It's really well known that the city is asking for those things, and then adding in the voucher support and this more permanent temporary solution for more sheltering is an easy thing to compile for you and to have those references and those numbers available.
Well, I think that 135,000 we did the other night might be fit into your leveraging discussion, that we've got to start on that. We've started our funding on that too, to get them to put more money in. Although we are still waiting, how much trouble is 2417 in? Or is it in trouble?
I think it's just sitting there, Mr. Mayor. I haven't heard it's
Just
in trouble.
nothing. Okay.
I haven't heard it's in trouble. They're doing their road shows and stuff for education, road shows for ARPA. So a lot of that activity, even though they're literally not on the road like they normally do, a lot of that activity has been going on. So it's kind of put everything in a little bit of it's a little bit of that right before the forecast slowdown.
So its jeopardy is a walkout. I mean, that'd be what would really hurt it.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything left on the gun bills? I mean, are there any gun bills left out there that could open up, take a piece that opens up our parks to some regulation?
Boy, I don't know, and I haven't heard. Again, I've been kind of back and forth with Clem, so I will ask Mr. Mayor when I talk to him.
Just see if he's got a set, plan B.
Yeah, if there's something sitting around in either rules or ways and means where he's still thinking about that park piece to try to get it done. I will.
Well, Anderson's chomping at the bit, so I want to.
I don't think Anderson's the only one that's chopping at the bit.
No, I ain't got
But
everybody.
I want the entire state to pass the rule, no guns in parks. Yeah.
Well, I think our problems, I don't think we'll see that. I think what we'll see is we'll have the opportunity as a city to do it. I really think that's the way it'll show up. And that's the way Clem is packaged, at least at this point.
Unless we
Are
can
there
get
any
more
others
organized
out
on
there
this
that the staff has identified, Courtney, as problem bills or bills that we need?
We did not bring any specific bills for your consideration today because we have secured, you have been really helpful and supportive. We've gotten positions for every bill that's still active. So we're confident and we're watching everything. Staff are on the call as well, should you wish to have any updates on any particular pieces of legislation, but we are continuing to monitor and continuing to provide testimony based on the positions you've already adopted.
Okay.
week.
And
I would
there's
be
nothing,
interested in an update from
nothing go-
Eunice.
go ahead, Chris, I'm
I'd
sorry.
be interested in an update from Eunice on any land use bills that are still could affect us.
Sure. Hi, everyone. The Eunice Kim, CD. The middle housing bill is still moving. So the one that would require us to expedite land divisions where middle housing is built. So we're anticipating bringing a code amendment to actually implement House Bill 2001 starting later this spring, summer. So that would have to be in place first, and then the land division bill, if it passes, would impact us. Senate Bill 8 is still alive. That's the one that would allow affordable housing more broadly in the city. It also would require us to basically give an affordable housing density bonus wherever affordable housing was provided. Those are the two big ones.
Okay. Anything else, Chris?
So didn't want to interrupt your update. Did you have anything else to address? You were talking about ARPA. We've already discussed all of the priority funding initiatives. Did you have anything else?
What about the police bills that were the various kinds of policing regulations coming down? Right? How's that all shaping up? Do we know? I don't see Lieutenant Aguilar. Is that who we'd hear from?
Usually, but
Yeah, surgery. Mark has been following some of those
Oh,
things.
great.
we did have one concern, but we felt that the chiefs of police was taking care of it and we didn't need to wade in. Mark, do you have anything else to add?
I don't at this time.
Okay, there's nothing new and different. Good. Okay, is there anything else then we need to go over?
I would like to just let everybody know that I'll incorporate the budget committee reference and try to get that out to you probably early tomorrow so that you have
That
the
list? Yeah, that'd help, I think, quite a bit.
Okay.
Great, thank you very much. Then is there anything from the committee?
Is that a Rothko that Anderson's got behind him there?
He wishes.
Yeah, I wish. Actually, it is a painting by a lawyer friend of mine who's retired. I worked with at SAFE for a number of years, and he has become an artist, and he paints watercolors in beer, not water. So he will know this is, Henry
Six
Weinhardt.
pack.
Henry.
And downtown, he's had shows at Brown's downtown.
Oh,
He had a whole series of shows there.
that's great.
So I'll thank you for asking. I'll have it. I haven't had time. It's been up for the last couple of meetings. I haven't had time to switch out. Then I'll do that next meeting so you can get something new.
Justin, you're not going to ask about my art? That's really
Art?
This is called After Hopper, and it was painted by my birth mother, and I think that's really apropos on
Oh,
this.
that's
Yeah.
great.
That's good. That's
Thank you
good.
for
That's good.
asking.
Yeah, I know you've told me that. Yeah.
That's
Cool
great.
stuff.
Okay, then I guess we're